Hello and welcome to another Talking Dogs on a Monday. It's been a heavy weekend. It's been a crazy weekend. We've seen some unbelievable action. We'll be reflecting, of course, on the semi-finals of the Corn Cuchulainn because it is Talking Corn Cuchulainn. But we'll also be reflecting on the semi-finals of the Shelburne Champion 550. Some brilliant performances in that, and of course, Irish hearts were broken at Toaster on Saturday night as our four representatives in the final of the Star Sports and TRC English Derby failed to really land a blow as Thorn Falcon led home Killaraline for a tremendous 1-2 for the English. But before then, I must introduce you to the men I'll be discussing all matters over the weekend with this morning as I'm speaking, but as you're watching it this evening. Barry Drake, as always, will join me. Barry Drake from his Youghal base, and just to add some real spice to the occasion, we're throwing in a dub because there's not enough of us around. Barry Caul. So we have two Barrys. Barry Caul, of course, has been the face of Talking Dogs for the last 3 months, and I know he's thoroughly enjoyed that. Now he's going to take the opportunity to let me do a bit of hosting, and he's going to chat about all matters over the weekend. Gentlemen, it's great to see you. I'm going to have to call you by your full names because, I don't know if BC and BD is going to work, but I'll call you a Mr. Caul. How about you start our proceedings? It was a great weekend's racing.
Yeah, usually I'm in trouble when I'm being called Mr. Caul, but yeah, it was a fabulous weekend racing. Of course, Shelburne Park with the Corn Cuchulainn and, of course, the English Derby. I don't think we're going to get away with saying it was a Belgian-trained winner of the English Derby. But
no, certainly not. We will try it. Don't get me wrong, we'll try it. But I can promise you one thing: for the next few days, you will see the most ultra magnanimous person you've ever met in your life, and I will give them the kudos. It was a tremendous winner. But let's talk about that a little bit later, Barry. Shelburne Park on Saturday night, we saw some brilliant performances.
Yeah, we did indeed. Obviously, we're going to start with the Corn Cuchulainn and Priceless Jet. Obviously, when I was watching the race, the first thought that comes to your head is, he just doesn't stay, But then when you look at the clock, he clearly does stay. He's after improving no end. I think in his first 750 over there, it was on Talking Dogs TV, and he clocked the 42.30. He got in a bit of trouble, but he's improved with every round. I think he might have clocked 41.30 odd in defeat there the other night. Now, he just has some of the strongest, real strong stayers in behind him. But look, he's likely to go clear again this weekend. And if you're out in front, it's a short run to the bend. Anything can happen in behind. So if he breaks like he did last week, gets out in front and clocks 41.30, something's going to have to turn relatively close. When I say relatively close, they've got to be within 4 or 5 lengths from as they pass the 750 box the second time around, But it's going to be a cracking final.
All very, very fair points. Of course, we also saw the Champion 550. We have to bring in Barry here at this. Oh God, we have to bring in Barry Drake. Another. It's ridiculous. Barry and Barry. Here we go. It's like the Chuckle Brothers. Only they both have the same name. Barry Drake. Great racing again at the weekend. Barry's already alluded to the performance of Bacchus Brandy as you picked up Price's Jet, but so much fantastic action. I know you were keeping abreast of the stuff elsewhere. Of course, Tipperary Cup was on, Shelburne Park, Toaster. How was it? Was it easy to keep up?
It was pretty hard on Saturday night because I was on commentary duties in Corrine Park. I was filling in for a great commentator in Cork, Tim Kelleher. So a bit busy, but I was keeping a close eye on all the action all over the country. And there was some enjoyable racing, not just in Cork and Shelburne, but as you said, in Tipperary as well. The Corn Cuchulainn, it never disappoints every year. 2 fantastic semi-finals again the other night. That I was keeping a close eye, obviously, on Burge's Elite, and that was very unlucky. He just doesn't want really to be in the track one lane. If he had went around there, I think he could have done a stunning time. And looking ahead now to next week's final, it's going to be a marvelous contest once more.
Yeah, it certainly does. We'll kick off proceedings. We will look back on the Corn Cuchulainn now, and I suppose we better start with Barry Caul because you've already given us your basic opinion on the opening semi-final. Here, Price's Jet did shoot clear. As you said, Barry, his first 750 was 42.15 was his run. Didn't get the clearest of runs that night. On Saturday night, he nearly goes, he's about 80 spots faster, considering over those 3 weeks, the difference it makes. You can say he doesn't stay, but you can also say he stays. I'm going to say he's somewhere in the middle because he's probably doing 40-80 to the fifth bend, and it's just from there there is a touch of paddling about it, but he stays it well enough to certainly play a big part in the final. As you say, if he gets loose on the outside like he did the other night, he could build a clear advantage, and then because it's so competitive, the contest itself, what's going to get the absolute clear run at him? You know, if Broncos Brandy hadn't got the clear run early the other night, she might not have picked him up. She wins a length. You know, a length in 41.28. You know, if he's doing 41.35 next week, I dare say he might just win it. Your take on the race, Barry?
Yeah, I think
Barry Caul. Excuse me.
I think even Ballymac Kingdom ran a blinder to finish third as well. He got himself in a bit of trouble at the first bend, and he ran on really strongly. But as regards Priceless Jet, he sort of falls into that category of like he's unbelievably strong over 4 bends. And you think at the likes of the dogs who ran in the Corn Cuchulainn, the likes of he was Smiling Man and Antrim Classic. Antrim Classic was a Derby runner-up. And although they won their fair share over 750, they just quite didn't get to 750, although they were ultra strong over the 4 bends. But the final this weekend, as Barry already mentioned, Burgess Elite, he was very unlucky. He had a great position going into the first bend, and 50 yards later he was last, and he still ran on to finish a close third. He's another one with a huge chance. So look, I know we say this so many times in greyhound racing, but it really is all on the break. It's what's going to track Priceless Jet around. I think Ballymac Kingdom, he might have a decent draw. I think Bocco's Brandy doesn't have an ideal draw because, as we know, Paul Hennessy's bitching too. Battle Cry, she can fly out traps and might just hold her up. So look, it's looking like Priceless Jet will lead. I think Ballymac Kingdom could go around second because I can see a little bit of trouble on the inside. Of the others, are Priceless Jet. I think there's only Bocco's Brandy, Ballymac Kingdom, and Borges Lee can pick them up. I don't think the other 2 bitches will pick them up. But it's going to be a great final. It's hard to believe he's doing 41.30 odd and not winning over the trip. So look, if he gets away, as you say, it's going to be more competitive in behind him. So he's sure to lead 5 or 6 lengths past in the stands the first time. If he's clocking 41.30, you're a fair hound coming from behind, doing 41.30 in the 750 to pick him up. So it's going to be a cracking final. It really is a top class race. And like, what's going to start favour? Like last week when they went past the line, you'd say that Bocco's Brandy, she's going to be favoured. But now you're looking at it, she could go off 2 to 1, 9 to 4 even, you know, don't they?
Yeah, no question she could. I won't give out to Barry Caul for premature analysis. He's already skipped to the final. He's already told us about the prices in the final. Let's reflect on this opening semi again. Bocco's Brandy, you knew from an early stage. I think we all knew from an early stage that she was going to be a pretty special stayer. This was her 6th win from 9 starts over the trip, Barry. Drake, she's ultra strong. She probably doesn't have the pure 4-bend speed as some of her rivals, but she did a 13.54 in her second round victory. Last night, she does 13.87. She still got a little bit held up on the inside. From 4, if she hits the lids, now she is going to need to hit the lids, but it's still possible she leads up Ballymac Wisdom, Battle Cry and Burgess Elite. It's a case of she may need to, though.
Definitely. Look, as you said, she's a very consistent sort, and it was great to see her come up to Shelburne Park and back up them stunning performances that she posted down in Curry Park, you know, against a bit lesser company. But that performance the other night, like Priceless Jet, was so far in front, and she's just so strong, and you know, going away all the way into the escape there. She's a very exciting sort over these staying trips. But in the final, as Barry pointed out, like, it's often the case in greyhound racing, in front is the place to be, and if there's any bit of trouble at all in behind, Priceless Jet could be just gone, and they might struggle to reel them in on next Saturday night. So it's all to play for, but I think Priceless Jet has a huge chance in this final, albeit he's after getting caught there in recent weeks.
I was in danger of being a bit premature in my own commentary the other night. I sort of nearly alluded to it off the 4th bend that she may have been just a fraction too close. I always got the sense that she was too close, purely because we had seen Priceless Jet the previous week. But you know, she's still 5 lengths off at the 5th bend. You know what I mean? Like she's closing fast at that point, but you knew she was going to get there.
You love calling things before they even happen in commentary. Don't you? You get a great kick out of that.
No, not really, to be honest. I try not to, because it annoys punters as well as everything else.
Well, it does when it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Barry Caul, at what point did you think he was going to be picked up?
You always tend to see visually as they hit the 3rd bend the second time, but he was so far clear. I said, surely he can't be caught at this stage. And then when they did go by the line, I thought to myself, that's a 41.80 run. You know, there's no way she can come from that far back. But when I seen the clock, it was unbelievable. But look, when you watch the replay back a few times, as I've already mentioned, he's still doing 41.35. Like it's a fabulous run. Just take out. I know the 1st and 2nd were there, but if the 2nd and 3rd weren't in the race, that would just be one of the greatest performances we'd ever seen over 750 in Shelburne Park. You know that he would have blitzed his field 1 by 10, 15 lengths, and we'd all be talking about what a superstar this fella is. He is a superstar, but he just has 2 really strong ones in behind. And Ballymac Kingdom, don't forget, he was only beaten 4 lengths altogether.
It was pretty
this.
remarkable. He does a lot of rolling down that back straight. You know, he's so strong. He really moves like a Rolls Royce between the fourth and the fifth corners, and like that. He has a tricky draw again, but if he does turn close, we know he has the pace. And he seems to be one of the few dogs that has a change of pace nearly over 750 yards.
He was a dog that led top class greyhounds over 550 into the first bend as well. So like if he can come away with them, there's every chance he can get first crack at Price's Jet around that bend. And if he does turn within 2 or 3 of them, then it's all over, no matter how close Bacchus Brandy is. Would she pick up Ballymac Kingdom? I'm not too sure she would if he got 2 or 3 lengths clear, you know.
I'm not going to make that prediction because, if she's a length behind anything, she picks them up. But it's a case of if she finds herself a length behind and then slips back to 3 lengths behind, it'd be a fair ask now to get her to ask her to pick up Ballymac Kingdom, who, as I said, between 4 and 5 is most likely going to put the foot down. He does look a bit ungainly up the home straight, but look at his performances over the trip. He certainly gets it. He may not be absolutely flying up the home straight, but he certainly gets the winning line. We'll move on to the second semi-final because Barry Drake, you already mentioned about Burgess Elite. He's potentially a very, very talented stayer. Completely lost his pitch the other night. That's not the first time he's done it, though. He's not, perhaps just the short run to the corner and how squeezy they get. He probably just minding himself a little bit at that point, but it was very impressive from the fourth bend home. But the pace he showed passing the stands and around the bottom 2 bends, the third and fourth bends, to get back into contention was pretty emphatic. It was pretty impressive. He didn't win, of course. Instead, the victory went to Ballymac Wisdom. It got up on the line to deny the fast starting Battle Cry. Battle Cry is running so well. I really just wish she'd gone over it a year earlier. But again, another fine display by her. 41.55, her best run for the distance. But Ballymac Wisdom 41.54 was just too strong for her in the closing yards, and was a short head. But Ballymac Wisdom certainly deserving her success because she did have to do it the hard way from the outside. Had to ease her stride at the 5th bend when challenging it, but came again to get up in the line. There was a lot happening in that semi-final, Barry Drake.
Yeah, look, it was another entertaining race, and to say the least. Battle Cry said a scorching gallop up front, but you always felt like Ballymac Wisdom was going to get there. And in fairness, it put out all the stops there in the latter stages to land the spoils. In terms of Burgess Elite, he's a greyhound that often gets a bit of trouble in running. I just prefer to see him, out in the middle of the track. I don't think he wants to run that trap one lane, especially when it's so tight around the opening corner. But I was just hoping he would have got around in that very decent pitch there on Saturday night, because I think he could have done quite a clock, and he's certainly a very talented greyhound for Sheila Spillane and JJ Finlay. But all 3 look there, and Miller's in fairness, and it's all set now for a big final next Saturday night. And in fairness, I think all 6 have some sort of a chance, and that always makes it that bit more interesting.
You take the times of, obviously, Bacchus Brandy did 41.28, Battle Cry did 41.55. I'm not going to include the Burgess Elite time of 41.69 because it's easily capable of doing a 41.30 from what I saw the other night. But if you take in that 41.28 to 41.20 or 55, what is it? It's less than 4 lengths between the 6. We know they can all post that 41.50. 3 or 4 of them can post considerably faster than that, 2 or 3 lengths faster than that. It shapes up like a very nice final, Barry Caul. And the draw has really thrown it open. Battle Cries in trap 2. She edges off on the opening yards. Ballymac Wisdom's up the inside where she wants to be. Burgess Elite probably will take a better bend from trap 3, especially if he hits the lids. Bacchus Brandy probably could run from any trap from 1, 2, 3 or 4. She'll break probably a bit better from the middle. Ballymac Kingdom, he's one of those greyhounds where he has won from out in 4 and 5 in the past. He's going to need to hit the lids. He's probably in a better box to hit the lids. And then we know Price's Jet is the only wide seed, so well housed in trap 6. The draw has been vital. If let's say Bacchus Brandy had been drawn in 2 with Battle Cry in 3, all of a sudden it just might have been a bit more compact or a bit more sort of spread out, the betting with Bacchus Brandy, probably that considerably shorter. But as it is, you said Bacchus Brandy could be 2 to 1, 9 to 4. Easily that's the case, Barry Caul.
It could be, yeah, because like any one of these dogs, it's only a 50, 60 yard run to the bend. So you can even see dogs that are devoid of early pace making the bend in a 750. If you just ping the lids, you're at the corner already. And just going back to Borges Elite, like he did get himself he great position there last week at the first bend. As Barry Drake already said, he probably will run the bend better from trap three. Like you got to remember that was only his third 750 of his life. I think he's only had maybe 10 or 11 races, and he clocked 41.69 last week. He definitely lost 6 or 7 lengths at a minimum around the first bend. And you have to remember he's got two 214 sectionals over 525 in Shelburne Park, which isn't bad going. So if he can hit the lids, it's not impossible that he can lead. Like he did lead last week and just didn't run the bend great.
What sort of price do you think the bookmakers will make Burgess lead when they do price it up? They've been slow to price this competition.
I think they'll be happy. They'll happily lay 2-1 because look what you have.
Burgess Elite.
Burgess Elite. Sorry. I'm talking about Bacchus Brandy. I wouldn't like to lay him in any bigger than maybe 9-2. I know you've got big dogs running for you, but like he's capable. As I say, he's only got 10 races, 10, 11 races. He's done 214 twice.
Is it safe to say that this is his future? You know, this 750-yard trip or 6 bend trips are his future.
There's not an awful lot of races around for 6 bend dogs in Ireland, so let's be honest about that. So
let's be honest about it. This fella isn't for Ireland for much longer.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like that's
he's
the
UK
problem.
bound. There's no question about that.
Like,
there's plenty of rumblings going on at the moment, and I think there might be a few offers already on the table for him.
Yeah, if there was a couple of competitions around 750, you could travel with him and you can have great fun with him. But yeah, he probably will be bound for the UK at some stage. But I think that this trip could be ideal from just the short run to the bend. He's capable of trapping. Maybe if he could get a little bit bigger than 9-2, 5-1, he's definitely the value option. Like he's still young enough to be improving. So he'd be the one I'd be siding with at the weekend. I'd probably be taking on Bacchus Brandy at that price. Even if she pings out, there is a bit of early pace in her inside with Battle Cry, and if she's held up at all, you could have prices check gone clear. So as a bookmaking point of view, it's definitely a race to lay a couple in because it's very hard to predict.
Yeah, and even then we haven't mentioned Ballymac Kingdom out in Trap 5. You know, you can't go a big price about him because, as you said, there is a flash start in him. Barry, your take on the final? I think we're all probably assuming the Prices Jet is going to go to the front early.
Yeah, look, as I said, it's a difficult race because there's so many talented trackers within the final, and as I said earlier on, often the place to be early is in front. So I take a little chance and Priceless Jet there from the outside. I think he's a certain leader and with a bit of potential for crowding in behind. I think he just might steal a march down the back straight to the winning line the first time, and I think he might be long enough in front or far enough in front to hold on. But as I said, look, it's a cracking lineup, and they're very much looking forward to it. But hopefully Burgess Elite will do the job for the local connections down my side. But I'll take a chance with Priceless Jet. I think next Saturday night could be the night for him.
Barry Drake, ever loyal to his y'all connections. Barry Caul, what do you think about that? Nothing wrong with it. Is there any Dublin runner? No. We're okay. We can just fly our flag for the All Ireland. Never mind the Corn Cuchulainn. We'll move on. At Shelburne Park on Saturday night, we saw also the semi-finals of the Shelburne Champion 550, not to be confused with the Shelburne Champion Stakes. So I heard the Raceboss TV referencing to the other night. You can't blame them. Similar names, but this Champion 550 has been a great addition to the competition over the last I think it's about 10 years now. At this stage, we saw the likes of Rural Hawaii winning it. We saw Droopy's Nidge, greyhounds of that ilk. This year's competition has been every bit as good. And the €7,500 prize, well, if you take the form to date into account of the competition, it looks like Ballymac Ariel is certainly the one to beat. She's got a good draw in the final with Stories Pee-wee on her inside, but she was pretty brilliant the other night, Barry Caul. This was the lady that we knew she was. We've spoken ad nauseum about her over the last few months, waiting for her to return to her very, very best. Liam believed he had a right as rain for Toaster. Just didn't happen for her over there. Maybe it was the track, maybe it was the travelling. I don't know. She's just never seemed quite comfortable around the place. And when she came back to Shelburne Park, it was her first round success was fastest of the round, 29.55. It was a good performance, but it wasn't her best performance. Last week, 29.42, again going to the front early, ran very well, took charge down the back straight, really raced on for them. You could see she was getting there. On Saturday night, I put it to you, Ballymac Ariel is back, baby. 29:07, the joint second fastest time ever recorded at Shelburne Park. The track was in good condition, don't get me wrong, but it was in no better condition than it was for a 4 or 5 month period last year in Shelburne Park. And some exceptional greyhounds failed to match that 29:07. The only dog that's ever gone faster is Pastana. Ballymac Ariel, a superstar. She's only in April 19. I think we are about to see her go ballistic over the next few weeks and months. And who knows, coming into a derby, she could be the one to follow.
Yeah, it was. That's the first thing that struck me, actually, how young she is. Like, to be in this competition, I thought this was confined to pups. It's a little bit of a leeway there now, but she is only in April 19, which is astounding. You see all the races she's contested and some of the performances she's put up. She's a 72-pound bitch, so like it's yeah, she could be coming into her peak, and there could be a little bit more to come. It was a huge performance off a 3:43 sectional. It's not actually, okay, it's probably one of her best, but she's a good record over that trip now. That's only 5:50 she's had. She's won 4 of them. And as you say, only Pastana and like some greats have done them sort of runs. Ballymac Wild, I think, is 29:07, and Tyra Van Gaal.
And Pastana has a 29:07
he has it
as well.
Yeah. And Tyra Van Gaal has 29:10. But even her run to the third bend was, she was about 2 lengths off Pastana for the first sectional, and then again at the third bend, and then closed a little bit, as you would imagine. So very consistent.
That's some running.
It is some running. You have to be closing on the dog doing 28:99 on the clock. But yeah, and I don't think the track was actually on fire. We've seen it in there some nights where, like, I think Razzle Dazzle Peaky won the other night, was it? And he done 31:27. Like, when the track's on fire, he's well capable of going lower than that. So yeah, it was a huge run. The dog that finished second fast with Paddy, he's no slouch. He runs on strongly. He got a clear run after. She still beat him 7 lengths. Real good performance. It was a good heat, and look, it's a good competition. The other semi-final was won in 29:24 by Deadly Destroyer, so she will have to come away like that again. But she should get her trap again. And look, if it turns near them down the back straight, she's going to take all the beating in the final. But she's a hugely impressive bitch, and I think, yeah, big things definitely ahead of her.
Barry, she was 72 pounds the other night. She looked more like a dog at times. She ran like a fast one the other night.
It was one of those great performances, a joy to watch. It was, it was very evident that she was on for a big run. She put it all together on Saturday night, and I think the Dowlings will be very pleased with that, because she's a greyhound that's, often talked about. So to clock that kind of a time, I think that they'll be very happy with that. It just was one of the performances of the weekend for sure. And delighted as well for Fast Fit Paddy to finish second. I spoke with Declan McDonald on the podcast on Thursday, so I definitely didn't jinx him at the weekend, because he had a winner as well with Tradesman, who ran well as well. So Kendall Inform, you've touched on him in recent weeks on this podcast, so good to see him doing well. He's a talented young trainer for sure.
Yeah, talented young trainer with a talented young dog. Like, Fast Fit Paddy was beaten 6 lengths the other night, but he's still clocking 29:49, and I still think he can trap a bit better than he has been doing so. But Declan McDonough has been coming to Shelburne Park for a number of months now, and his dogs run with real credit. Tradesman the other night, you alluded to it on the undercard, he talked the most unmerciful shoulder. It was like something you'd see Francie Bellew doing back in the day, playing for the Armagh side. This fellow just shook it off. He was thrown 5 yards sideways, and he was back in his right legs within seconds, cut back in off the second bend, and almost speeded up for the bump. It was unbelievable. Fast Fit Paddy running a very big race in second spot. Back in third spot, we have to mention Jack's Little Thing. Didn't quite happen for him the other night. He had won so well the previous week at 29:50. He's beaten 7.5 the other night, doing 29:59 off at 3:38. He flashed out of boxes. Ballymac Ariel was just too quick for him in the early yards. Sorry, Barry Caul.
Yeah, you're just saying that back in third, but then when you look at the time, 29:59, he's clocked in defeat. That way that would win 90% of 550s run around Shelburne Park. So he's a classy enough dog. He's not without his chance. He's from a decent litter, so wouldn't write him off just yet in the final. It definitely he'd be one you like to have in your kennel going into the derby. But it's a wide open final. Fast Fit Paddy, yeah, he's a dog I really like. We've seen him on Talking Dogs TV a couple of times, and he's got huge pace as well. So should be another great race to look forward to there on Saturday evening.
It should be. We'll move on to the second semi-final, because a dog that I have an awful lot of time for, Deadly Destroyer, won in fine style, 29:24. When you have that sort of run in your card, Barry, there's no foregone conclusions looking ahead to the final. Like Ballymac Ariel was, she's over 2 lengths faster, but she's going to have to do it right, because Deadly Destroyer is exceptionally strong when he's on the front. And for Cal Ramsbottom, a very popular figure, a good winner. Is Barry Drake with us? No, he's not with us. We'll go back to yourself, Barry Caul. Deadly Destroyer, a dog with plenty of ability. He had been very impressive in the opening rounds of the produce.
Breaking up there a bit.
Barry Drake, you're breaking up a bit, Barry. Do you want to go and come back and join us in a moment, Barry? Pardon, Barry Caul. We'll go back to you. This Barry thing is ruining my head. This is no way to start. There's no way to start a Monday morning. Deadly Destroyer, Barry Caul, very talented.
He is hugely talented, and we've seen him in a couple of the puppy competitions earlier this year that we covered down in the produce stake. A couple of fabulous runs in the produce stake. He had a couple of fabulous runs in the Conn and Annie Kirby as well. So 29-24, we're sort of skipping over him a bit because Ariel's taken all the headlines, but there's not too many dogs. We've mentioned the likes of Pastana and Tyro Van Galen and those sort of dogs. There's not too many dogs that went quicker than 29-24 around Shelburne Park. So look, he's another one with a huge future. He's very consistent. He's got a good bit of early pace. He stays strongly, so he's everything you want in a dog, really. So
I think the step up to 550 is going to be the key to him, isn't it? It has really crowned him a bit.
Yeah, the longer run to the bend obviously suits him, especially a dog with his pace. And he naturally has more early pace than Ballymac area going into the bend. So if he's out in front again, doing
do you think?
I do think so.
I'm of the belief that the night he did the 28-28 in Clonmel in the produce stakes, I think that was the first round. There was 4 or 5 dogs like almost identical to the third bend. And Deadly Destroyer was 6 lengths faster from the third bend home. I think he's good early speed, but I think he really grinds it out when he's in front from that third bend home. I think he's making up 20 spots of his time from the third bend home.
I think, you're not wrong there, but I think after 40 or 50 yards, if he gets a clear run and he's into his stride, like he's quick enough going into that corner. He might not have the lightning early speed for the first 20 or 30 yards, but I think once he gets into his stride, he's got good early pace. He should have the inside of, I haven't seen the track draw, excuse me, but I presume he's on the inside of Ballymac area on Saturday night. And look, that could be the winning and losing of the competition. He hasn't got an awful lot to find. He's only got just under 3 lengths to find. So look, it'll lend itself to a great final this weekend.
Barry Drake is after putting 50 cent back in the Wi-Fi meter. Barry Drake, Deadly Destroyer. You spoke to Carl Ramsbottom on your podcast. He's a thoroughly likable fella, but he's also a very talented trainer. And in Deadly Destroyer, he has perhaps his best dog he's ever had going into a derby.
Definitely. Look, and he was slightly disappointing last week. I was expecting a big run. We were saying it on this that he had derby pace and there was a big run coming. So I was delighted he got the job done on Saturday night. I thought it was a quite taking performance to say the least. And we sent off around 7-4 to it. That was pretty generous. I think I put the mockers on him the previous week. I had a few quid in him. Unfortunately, I couldn't get down from the commentary booth and on Saturday night to invest a few quid. They were roaring and shouting Shelburne prices below. I would have got great satisfaction out of backing him on Saturday night, but it wasn't to be. And look, as you said, Carl Ramsbottom, he's never shy of having the word a very approachable trainer, and so I'm always rooting for his dogs because it makes my job easier when the fella's not shy of having a few words. But I think he could be a big player for the upcoming Irish Greyhound Derby. See this dog going all the way to the final.
Yeah, Carl's not shy of a word. There's no question about that. Behind him, Stories Pee-wee. What can you say about this fella? For another couple of great supporters of the game, Mert Lahey and Gavin O'Mahony. Stories Pee-wee is a dog where I don't quite know where his trip is just yet. All I know is that when the next few weeks are done, when perhaps he's made his exit from the Derby, and who knows how far he can go because he's such a big finisher. But I can't wait to see him over 600 yards at Shelburne Park. That long run home is really going to suit him. I think the longer run to the corner actually suits him too. I think he just leaves him. He's a bit flat-footed at boxes, but he actually runs well into the opening corner. He has a massive run over 5.75 on his card, and I think he's come on considerably since that time. Stories Pee-wee, Barry Drake is one that you'd have to keep an eye on in the coming weeks and months.
Definitely. Look, he's a July youngster as well, lightly raced, much more to come for sure. I think he's 31.10, as you said there, for that 5.75. Well, 600 could be tailor-made for him, but as you said, I'm sure they'll take on the upcoming Irish Greyhound Derby first and see how they get on. He's a greyhound that could keep progressing, and if he could do that, the dream would be still alive. But an exciting greyhound for sure. And as you said, Mert Lahey there and Gavin O'Mahony, great supporters of the game as well. So it's nice to see them doing so well.
Barry Caul, he's one of those dogs you don't see him in a race, and all of a sudden he arrives, he flashes up in the line. You're going, where did he come from? He's done that to me 2 weeks running now. Storage Pee Wee, very strong.
He is very strong. He came from a long way behind last week to finish second, and as Barry already mentioned, he does have a big run over 5.75. Lacks a little bit of early. I think when he won that 5.75, he led all the way to 4.83, which you wouldn't usually lead all the way in 5.75 to 4.83. But he's consistent. Although he lacks a bit of early, he's consistent. He's consistently doing the 350s over the 350 splits over the 550 yard competition. He's only had maybe 8 or 9 races, so he's a type of dog that can keep on qualifying in a derby, finishing second and third and coming from off the pace. So he's definitely one to look forward to as well. Not without a chance either this weekend.
Yeah, I think he'll sharpen up. I don't think he's lacking as much early as we think. I just think he's given them that length of boxes and then gets racing into the opening corner. And a third dog in that heat is, it seems strange that the last of the 6 dogs we're going to talk about is Ballymacmurlin. He has glimpses of form in his card. I'm telling you, lads, that this is a greyhound now. There's better to come from him. And the other night he didn't come away well. He showed unbelievable early to go second. And he runs a good second until the line where he's pipped by the aforementioned Stories Pee Wee. Liam Dowling and I've heard him speaking of this dog, and I think he's of the belief that they haven't got to the bottom of him yet. Barry Drake, Ballymacmurlin can run. He showed signs of it in the semi-final of the Race of Champions down at Tralee. He had shown glimpses down at Limerick in the Kirby, but I think it was just lack of experience, and I don't think the penny had quite dropped in the Kirby. More like it, as I said, in the Race of Champions. But since he's come to Shelburne Park, he's shown glimpses again. When he gets his trapping in order and starts racing into that opening corner, he could be a pretty potent performer.
Without a doubt, I think that's what he's just lacking at the moment, especially against this company. Is really, really fast starts, and unless he can, master the art of trapping, he might just struggle in these big competitions. But look, there's room for improvement. He's running big races in defeat against some of the quickest trackers in the country. So if he can just find that length and a half from the traps, he could be a big player for all the remaining big competitions this year.
Yeah, Barry Caul, what's your thoughts of Ballymacmurlin? Have you seen much of him?
I've seen him a few times, yeah. All right. He's a big enough dog, isn't he? He's 81, 82 pounds.
Yeah.
His trapping is his Achilles heels, as we've seen on more than one occasion. But when he gets it right, he's pretty good. Like, he's 17.35 for a sprint down in Tralee and 18.60 in Shelburne. I know you're always of the opinion that fast dogs do fast trials, but to do 17.35, he definitely has a bit of early. And in the fourth round of the Race of Champions, 29.55. So he only has the 2 wins on his card. I still wouldn't mind having him myself, but he could have a big future if he does sharpen up on his trapping. Yeah,
it's 2 wins in the very best of company, of course. We move on, gentlemen. The final. Oh, sorry, we haven't mentioned the final. We'll give it a brief mention. Shelburne Champion 550. Ballymac Ariel's out in trap 6. That's basically what you need to know. Stories Pee Wee's in 5. Barring accidents, you should lead up Stories Pee Wee. Ballymacmurlin in 4. If he's going to do anything, he's going to edge across. Fastest Paddy 3. Deadly Destroyer 2, and Jack's Little Thing in trap 1. Deadly Destroyer has to worry about company. Ballymac Ariel probably doesn't. That could be the difference between winning and losing. Barry Caul.
Yeah, I think so. She's got a perfect draw, being drawn wide now in Shelburne Park. You're 99.9% sure to get trap 6 every time you run. Even when you're an inside, you're pretty much sure to get trap 6, as I've seen recently myself. But she's got a perfect draw. Look, if she just repeats what she's done last week, she does win it, doesn't she? And it's scary to think that she probably lost a half a length at the bend last weekend. So there could be a huge run. I hope the track is fast, and really looking forward to a huge run.
Yeah, Barry Drake, Ballymac Ariel's to lose.
Yeah, I think she's unopposable in the final. She's going to take the world beating, going on recent form. I'm sure she'll start as a short price favourite as well.
Barry Caul, what price would you back her, or what price would you lay her?
I'd say she's just in around the even money mark, I'd say. She's not always, I know you're a big fan of her, but she's not always that consistent.
I'd tell you something. If you're standing on Shelburne Park on Saturday night, you'll be busy.
But she's not always that consistent at traps now. And like you see the dog that won the semi-final, he's 29-24. He's only a couple of lengths off her. They're all just out puppy stages, so there's improvement to come from a few of them. Just before we leave Shelburne Park, I seen Boyle Sports King done 28-30 there on Saturday night. So it would be amazing if we got him back. Like,
he did on the same night where Basil Dasapiki, his little brother, won.
Yeah, 31-20 for the 570. But Yeah, look, it'd be amazing.
That's as I put down this, as we end this call, I'll be making that phone call. I tried to ring Dolores a while back when he did a 28.90, but 2 or 3 months ago there was no answer. So I had a feeling that it was still up, not quite there.
Yeah.
So I'll be ringing her this morning and hopefully she'll answer.
Oh, look, it would be brilliant to see him back. Like when he finished second in the Derby a couple of years ago, he looked as though the world was his oyster. Like, he looked as though he's going to have a massive future. And he's obviously had his issues, but yeah, good run the other night, 28.30. Derby's not too far away, so it'd be brilliant to see him back. It really would.
Yeah, he was going to win me a BMW if he'd won last year's English Derby. I had back from pounds, shillings, and pence at big prices each way. Barry Drake again, Ballymac Ariel. Would you take even money?
Oh, I take even money, yeah, definitely. Great price.
We'll see.
And if you wish to take any even money, Barry Caul can be reached on Twitter. Barry Caul at Barry Caul, I believe.
Sorry, it's gone. It's gone. 8 to 11 now.
Right, we'll move on because we have to mention it. The English Derby came to a conclusion on Saturday night. No luck for our wonderful quartet of runners new in session. Dearjet Sydney, of course. Ballymac Fair won, Ballymac Wild. It just wasn't meant to be, gentlemen. It was one of those races where they never even landed a blow. It was over just at boxes. Corn took an unmerciful start, 4:05, when you consider the best start in the Derby prior to that had been a 4:10 from Knock the Bull Sid. I think it was in the third round, perhaps. Corn flashed out of boxes. It was like the Irish dogs around him were like, what happened? What just happened? It didn't upset Thorn Falcon. He did a 4:08. Patrick Jansen's had one job. That was to get his dogs in peak condition, to get them out of boxes. I don't think he could have done much more. A trainer who hasn't been out on his own all that long. Of course, he spent so many years with Mark Wallace, but by all accounts, he is a proper greyhound man. You can tell the way he talks with his dogs, the way he acts with his greyhounds, that he loves them truly, dearly. And the way they run from would suggest that. We'll see plenty more of Patrick Jansen's in the future. Thorn Falcon, gentlemen, he actually won his opening round heat of the future champion and Michael Fortune Memorial unraced stake at Enniscorthy. I have mentioned it a couple of times. I'm not sure he'll appreciate me keep mentioning it. But Georgie Roach said to me after the first round, he said, I'm not sure we saw much in the opening round. Thorn Falcon, who was known as Ordinary Joe Slope, won well, and he's now an English Derby champion less than 4 months later. Barry Drake, Thorn Falcon, in these competitions, in these big finals, you want the dog to go out and win it, to go out and take the race by the scruff of the neck. He certainly did that. He's this massive greyhound. He's more like a horse than a greyhound, but he has so much balance, so much pace, so much power, and it was only his 10th career start.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, his 10th career start, what a special greyhound he is, and such a big greyhound as well. It's scary to think that there could be more to come. And when a greyhound breaks 29 seconds around Enniscorthy first time up, you have a stare then, because it's such a tough running circuit, and when they clock a time like that down there, the world is their oyster. So look, it was unfortunate that we didn't have an Irish trained winning greyhound, but at the same time, it was nice to see Thorn Falcon do the business in such great style, and I'm sure all the English will be watching Enniscorthy that much or that bit closer now going forward to see if they can get the next Derby winner.
Second English Derby winner in 5 years, following JT Jet, of course, who had started his career there. Barry Caul. This was a Wexford winner. This wasn't an English winner, surely.
Yeah, born in Wexford, owned in Wales. I think one of the owners is Welsh, and he's trained in Belgium. So there you go.
No, he's trained in England, but by a Belgian, okay.
But not trying to be dramatic or anything now, but I watched the final, obviously, and I didn't have a bet in it because obviously I was rooting for Dearjet Sydney to win for 2 in a row. But there's so many variables going through your head. Will 1 come out and hold his pitch? Can 5 get a flare? Can 3 break well? And blah blah blah. And then once the race started, it took me 2 or 3 seconds. What's going on here?
I had to look at my card and go, what's that?
I don't mean to be flippant, but it was just like, is that Ballymac Fair? Well, no, that's in 3. And it was all over. The Irish had no chance at the first bend. But congratulations to Patrick Jansen. I think he's only training on his own since maybe 2017, 2018. I could be wrong. But I was just looking back to the breeding. I like to look back through the breeding, and we can claim a lot of Irish success through the breeding. I think, believe it or not, PJ Fahey's Pinhead is responsible for 3, the first and second home, and Ballymac Fair one all come from the Pinhead line. So that's an amazing line, as we all know. And then of the other 3, you have it's the Martinstown line, the Batty's line, and of course it's Ballymacroturn. So they're all proper Irish bred dogs. We'll claim that one anyway. But I think it's great. Yeah, Pinhead with the 3 first, second, and fourth. I think it is. But yeah, great find. You can't take anything away from the winner, Patrick Janssens. He broke this the early pace sectional twice, 4:05 and 4:08, and finishes first and second. So well done to him. As you say, that was his job, get them out in the final night, and he certainly did.
Yeah, we have to mention the second, Clara Lyon. What a warrior he has been, and of course, bred by the Clara boys, Philip O'Keefe and Brian Kennedy down there. They've been producing champions for quite some time. It was, I think now it was actually Brian Kennedy that said it to me the other day, but is that the first final he's ever been beaten in England? That'd be a fair achievement, Barry Drake.
Yeah, it sure would. And the Clara grounds, of course, are well known now. Fantastic breeding, fantastic prefix, a ground. I think he started his racing career on these shores as well, maybe around Clonmel when in the care of David Flanagan. So the first and second started on Irish shores. So it just it reminds us all of the standard and caliber of ground we're producing here year in, year out.
Yeah. Of course, Thorn Falcon, I don't know where he's going to go, whether Patrick decides to come over to Ireland or not, but there's a 50,000 bonus, sterling bonus if he comes over and wins the Irish Derby. Barry Caul, I'd say to you, I think he'd be better suited to Shelburne Park than he would be to Toaster. Yeah,
like it's obviously his size, he would be suited to Shelburne Park, a big galloping track like that, and like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you bring him over here for the Irish Greyhound Derby?
Well, it's a big commitment. Yeah, it's a big commitment. We don't know, what Patrick has to, he has his own commitments in the UK. But if he was to come over, it'd be great to see him bringing the likes of Clara Lyon, Thorn Falcon, Bocco's Belly. He has the greyhounds that could really make a splash at Shelburne.
He does, and strong running sorts as well, with a bit of early pace, like the likes of Bocco's Belly. He could be even better suited to Shelburne Park. But look. It's a line that I'm always interested in. Once the dogs are running well, like if you stop them, give them a break, it's very, very hard to get them back to that sort of form as well. Like the Irish Derby, it's not that far away. Like it's only 4 or 5 weeks away now, isn't it?
So, yeah, we're talking about a month from now is the this day a month we're talking Derby draw.
Yeah, so his dogs are running well. Like he doesn't have the time to give them a break and start again. So maybe a couple of trials and just keep them ticking over. Like we've seen it with the Explosive Boy. Packhill Foil, strike while the iron is hot. The dog is running well. Just keep on running because, as I say, we've seen it so many times. Dogs, you give them a break, maybe 4 or 5 months off, and they'll come back stronger, and they just don't. So, look, they won't win money at home in the shed, will they? So once they're flying like that, just keep them going. Look, if it's okay transport wise, and he has some sort of a setup or assistant, yeah, by all means, go for it.
Yeah, I'd say there'd be plenty of people offering to keep them up there, to hold them, to let them stay with them over here. Barry Drake, what would you do with them?
I'd bring them on to Shelburne Park and take the chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's there, for everyone to see. We want to see him in Shelburne Park. Of course, we have to give a mention to Joe Devlin, the breeder. He won the Michael Fortune, or the future champion and Michael Fortune Memorial down at Enniscorthy with Sons of Sons, who was a brother to Thorn Falcon. He also sold one for the next litter for big money out of Enniscorthy. So it's a breeding line that Joe will be very keen to keep going. He's flying down there at the moment, just outside Wexford town. It's easy to say this was an English success, but I'm sure there was real cheers for this fellow down in the sunny southeast.
Yeah, certainly would. If you owned the bitch, you'd certainly be cheering on the Derby winner. That increases all future pups' value no end. Stick a little knot onto the end of them. But as I mentioned, the Pinhead line, so he's got a great line there. So I'm sure that may continue. But overall, I think it was like the track got a bit of stick during the first couple of rounds. I found the track quite hard to read myself. Maybe from the second and third round on, I just didn't know if you could come from behind. I didn't know if you could break from 1 or 6. You can definitely break from 6, as we've seen in the final. But look, I think, as I say, it's got a bit of stick, but the track, it is what it is, really, isn't it? Like you look at Epsom and the horses, and people don't agree with that track. And like Wimbledon, you look at Wimbledon, people, it's a bit too sharp. It's this, it's that. But you've seen Westmeath Hall come from behind twice. So look, it's sort of horses for courses, really, isn't it? I'm sure Liam Dowling wouldn't complain about the track. He got 2 to the final. Buckley the same, got 1 to the final. So look, fair play to Kevin Boothby. He's putting his money where his mouth is. They've got room there as well if they want to make improvements or changes to the tracks. Like some tracks over here, we're limited with the amount of space we have and trying to rectify any issues we may have. So Seemed to be a great crowd there, great atmosphere on Saturday night. So just
I think
hopefully
that's the one thing to take out of it. The fact that it was a great crowd, it was a great atmosphere, and we yearn for those days, Barry Drake, when we kind of pack stands again at the likes of Shelburne Park and in your neck of the woods, y'all in Cork. You know, wouldn't it be great if we had a packed Corrine Park for the Laurels later in the year?
I definitely, look, that's what we need, and that's why we love the sport. Full houses, you know, atmosphere sky high. It was like that in Toaster the other night. It was really nice looking in and seeing everyone enjoying themselves and having great fun, and that's what the sport is all about. So hopefully we'll have full houses back in these shores in the coming months.
Yeah, just one more thing, Thorn Falcon. I think it's important for the UK to have a superstar. You know, it's all well and good us going over and winning the Derby first, second, and third the last 2 years. It's good for the sport in England for them to have a superstar, a dog that they can really hang their hat on and, you know, look forward to. He's only had the 10 starts. Who's to say he won't be back next year? We certainly know he handles Toaster. He's open to improvement, which is scarcely scary. His size, you know, if he stays injury free, you know, he's just one of those. He's a real sort of bully of a greyhound. Once he gets things his own way, he doesn't leave any gaps for any other greyhounds to get involved. He's just a big, galloping, beautifully striding dog.
Yeah, I think it's huge for the UK to have a winner, and especially a winner that was bought in Ireland, you know, because you can hear the rumblings, you know, people like talking through their pockets saying, oh, the Irish, they don't sell the good ones, they all keep the good ones, you know, that way. So it just goes to show that you can't pick one up. Not too sure what he went for. I'd say he went for a few quid, but it is important to have an English winner and an English superstar, and it gives them a little pep in their step. And yeah, look, it wouldn't be much fun. Cheltenham wasn't much fun, was it, when we were winning all the races? So.
Speak for yourself. I was enjoying it. And don't get me wrong, if you'd had the first 4 on Saturday night, I would have thoroughly enjoyed it. But no, let's take the positive. It is very good for the industry in the UK to have a superstar. And, you know, wherever he turns up in the UK, he's sure to bring extra bodies to the track.
Yeah, he's going to have a huge following now. And like you look, I know it's gone back years ago, the likes of Scorlow Champ, what he done for greyhound racing. I know we're never going to see the likes of that again, but it is something that they can pin their hopes on. And yeah, it'd be huge if he comes over for the Irish Derby and goes well in it, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Barry Drake has left us for a moment. He'll be back in a second because we have any other business to discuss. This is AOB. Barry Caul, you're up the north side of the city. Dundalk is but a stone's throw away from you. You're looking forward to the Bar 1 Irish Sprint Cup. Some real big names going to be involved in it. You know, we expected the likes of our top sprinters to be there, of course. Brody's Magic is back. I see Deadly Big Show is there. We've Shomra Nate amongst the entry. But we also have 1 or 2 stars from the Four Bend field. And Good Cody is a very, very interesting runner. Barry Drake mentioned Listen to Kilvernon last week. He's also there. Just a really good entry. We'll have a full list of the entries tomorrow on Talking Dogs. We'll have the draw later in the week. A good competition to look forward to. It's great to see the sprinters. And I got reports this morning that it looks like it's going to be a full entry of 72.
Yeah, for that sort of money, you'd be disappointed if it wasn't. It's always a great competition. It's, you know, it's a sprint race, but it's, you know, it's a good long run to the bend. It's a good long run home. So you can't really have a 300-yard sprinter win this. You got to be strong, you know. But yeah, I seen Good Cody. I think he clocked 21:20 down there in his first spin. There's also, we remember Arden Sewell Jet. I think there's a son of his now. We've seen Arden Sewell Jet's son, very well named. He won his debut down there in 21:24. He's only had the 2 races. The sprinter belonged to Graham Hall. I think it's 7 Heads Rock. I think he came back to some sort of form, won a sprint race down the country recently. So 2 Amigos, he's another one we've seen on Talking Dogs TV. He's another potential star, but it's always a great competition. Unfortunately, this year I think it does clash with the Derby. Is that right? The final might clash with the final Derby.
It was a bit of a surprise when I saw Good Cody in it. Maybe they weren't ready to step him up to 550. He does look whether it'll be a bit too far from the 550, but perhaps they put him in with a view that maybe if he got knocked out, they could still take the Derby route. But maybe they've decided that 550 will just stretch him this much or a bit much at this stage in his career. Barry Drake, you'll be keeping an eye on the Bar 1 Irish Sprint Cup.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, obviously a fabulous competition. I look forward to it every year. Just going back in terms of this weekend, 1 or 2 things that I'd like to note. Down in Tralee on Friday night, there was a great competition there. It was an A5 quad distance, and it had €4,500 to the winner. So that was fantastic sponsorship, and it was won by a local man here in the Cork area, Ger Gubbins. He done Trojan work for us at the old Greyhound track when we needed work completed. Very nice man. So I was delighted to see Hollyhill Davy scoop that prize in the Kingdom on Friday night in Corrine Park on Saturday night. Billy's Diva trialled before race and she clocked 28:38. So I would imagine she's going to be competing in Saturday night. Yeah, the Shelley Fenley Memorial Bitch Day, which is always a fabulous competition. So very much looking forward to that on Saturday night. And also last Saturday night, Airdra Pearl is a ground that's in tremendous form around Corrine Park. She's owned by Rashinda Kelly, trained by John Kyle. She's won 4 of her last 6, and she beat a high-class field in the Open 550. I think she clocked about 29:55, 29:57. So she's coming into the Shelley Fenley Memorial Open bitch in great form.
I know you're also keen to mention the Tipperary Cup, which started on Saturday night, and some very familiar names were starring. What went fastest?
Cabra Ava, who's owned by the Scally family, she won the Champion Bitch Rake at Thurles last year, and she was the only greyhound to dip under 29 seconds on Saturday night when she got the better of Murtlahy's Dark Devil. There was a sensational performance, really. She has posted 28.71 around Thurles in the past, so she's going to take the world of beating in that competition. Auxerre, another talented greyhoundine who you'd be more than familiar with, he won as well. And
we were just saying off air before, but this is the type of competition. This will give him a chance to win a big one. You know, it's sort of this competition where I'm not throwing dirt at it, but there's a chance that there's not quite the same amount of big names that he'd normally be taking on in Shelburne Park. There, he's a dog with plenty of ability. If he takes to the track, he could really go close.
Without a doubt, look, this would be a slightly easy class for him when they're taking on Derby dogs, at the top of the range in Shelburne Park over Saturday night. Obviously, look, it's a great competition with so many talented trackers, and look, a lovely first prize as well. I think it's €6,000 or €7,500, the feature in the Thurles calendar every year. So look, he was impressive to win in 29:16. I'm sure there's more to come for him. Garth Kelly Nestor as well. He picked up a big prize down in Kilkenny. I think at the back end of last year he won 10 grand. He won 29:19. So look, it's turning into a great competition as it always is, and I'm sure we'll see some sparkling performances over the next couple of weeks in Thurles.
Yeah, we must mention the other heat winners. Lynchy Boy won in 29:32. Gord Kelly Nestor, as you mentioned. Of course, Freedom Epic was the other heat winner on the night. So plenty of good racing to come in that, Barry.
Yeah, for sure. Look, as I said, it's after starting off now with so many impressive winners, so it'll be heating up over the next couple of weeks. And as always, it'll take plenty of winning, but definitely Cabra Ava for the local Scally family will be favoured for outright glory, and she'll be hard to beat going on recent performances.
Yep, certainly. A lot of good racing to look back on, and also a lot of good racing to look forward to. I have to say thank you to the two Barrys, the Chuckle brothers, as we're going to call them, going forward. To me, to you.
There's only one of them alive, so I hope that's
no comment. I don't think it's Barry. Going ahead, we are looking forward to the final of Corn Cuchulainn on Saturday night. Ireland's Premier Classic, Staying Classic, should I say, and 6 really top-class performers in that final. We have the final of the Shelburne Champion 550. Some real star names in that, of course. Ballymac Ariel will be favoured. Again, if you want even money, contact Barry Caul. We also have to look forward to the Bar 1 Irish Sprint Cup, which is starting on Friday night, and we also have the second round of the Tipperary Cup. There's so much happening in the next few weeks and months, of course. We'll soon be into the Champion Stakes, and then, of course, into the Derby. So very busy weeks to come at Shelburne Park, and chiefly amongst all the various tracks, but plenty of greyhound racing to look forward to in the coming weeks and months. Just one last mention: there was 200 people at Shelburne Park on the stands on Saturday night, gentlemen. There was a murmur. There was actually noise. It's amazing how much you realize you've missed it when you actually hear something.
Yeah, I was there on Friday night. I think there was 100 people in on Friday night, and even with the 100 people, it's just so different than what we're used to. People cheering for dogs, something that you haven't seen in 16, 18 months, and roaring at the bookies, and a little bit of interaction. There was a couple of bookmakers there on Friday night, but it's great to see, and hopefully we can continue on an upward trend and keep on building the numbers, 200 and maybe a bit more. Like, we have the facilities there in Shelburne Park, upstairs and inside. There's so much room to even double and treble that number in the coming weeks. So fingers crossed the numbers stay down and stay somewhere where they are, and we can improve and get a couple more people.
Yeah, the COVID numbers need to stay down. The vaccine numbers need to go up through the roof, and hopefully that will be the case. Barry Drake, again, you've already mentioned it. You're very much on record as saying you want crowds back on stands, and great to see a few coming back.
Definitely, look, there was a great atmosphere around Corn Park on Saturday night as well, with the 200 in attendance, and they were certainly enjoying themselves. There was one or two busloads came from up the country, and they enjoyed their night. There was great atmosphere there, and great food as well, which I always enjoy every Saturday night anyway.
No danger. Anyway, that's it, folks. We'll be back in a week's time. We'll be discussing the final of the Corn Cuchulainn, the Shelburne Champion 550, and any other business. We'll, of course, be reflecting on some of the fine displays in the opening round of the Bar 1 Irish Sprint Cup, and, of course, the Tipperary Cup. But that's it for us on this Monday evening. Again, my thanks to the Chuckle Brothers. We'll see you next time.